On the program today, we're going to set up a Ubuntu Desktop on a remote machine on a cloud server. We're going to use INOS, formerly 1&1, as our guinea pig setup environment here. We're going to set up a vanilla Ubuntu server, just created on a 4 GB environment. And so here we're just setting up the root username and password for the environment. Once you have that set up to your liking, and again, this is mostly vanilla, I didn't really do anything to it, just created it from scratch out of the box. Once it's created, we'll go ahead and wait for it to start up and do its thing and copy the IP address. And we're going to SSH to that IP address. Looks like everything is all set up okay. So the next step is we're going to update apt. And after we do that, we are going to install Ubuntu Desktop and Xrdp, which is the remote desktop client server for Ubuntu. Great. Now don't forget to allow access to port 3389. That is the default port for RDP, remote desktop server. And in Mac is what I'm using. I'm going to open up Microsoft Remote Desktop and I'm going to log in with my credentials I created for the server. That will allow me to log into the machine. And I'm going to open up the terminal, and now I'm going to start installing Composer. You can go to getcomposer.org for further instructions on how to set up Composer. But this is the generic process to set up Composer on an Ubuntu machine. An important part is you have to install PHP first. Remember, this is a vanilla Ubuntu instance, so you have to set up PHP first. In this case, we're going to just install the PHP 7.4 CLI. Now we'll go back to installing Composer. We're able to get Composer, as we can verify right there, composer.setup.php. So we'll run php composer setup.php, and it'll give us our FAR file. And then we'll go ahead and stick that FAR file, just to make sure Composer's not installed there first. But we'll put that FAR file in the user local bin directory and change it to Composer, so that we can just type Composer going forward rather than composer.far. It doesn't like you using Composer as root, but for the sake of this demonstration, we're going to do that. Let's verify the version that we're using, which is 2.1.10. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to call the curl command, setup command for Docksal. This will allow me to run Docksal on this instance of Ubuntu Desktop. Now what we're going to do is run Composer create project, and we're just going to call this project Drupal. So here's something important. You need to have PHP libraries installed. So just by default, when I go through this on a regular process, I put in the DOM, the XML, and the GD libraries, and I also include zip because sometimes it just doesn't get included in a normal install. So therefore, I'm ready to do my create project command again. Everything works wonderful. Then I run fin init, which creates my Docksal environment, pulls in all of the images that I need. And now I can go to Drupal.docksal in my browser. So I'm going to open up Firefox, which comes natively with the Ubuntu Desktop environment. Open it up, run my install. By the way, the default install information for a Docksal environment, if you don't know, is default. It's the name of the database. Username and password are both user, U-S-E-R. And the database is not localhost, it's at DB. Save and continue. Fill out all this stuff. I'm not putting anything fancy in here just because it's a demo to show you installation on Ubuntu Desktop. And there it is. That's the end of it. Hope you enjoyed it.